Hey guys, before we dive into the episode with Jake Dorn, I'd like to just quickly remind you that the Better Ideas podcast was added to the ballot of the Best of Lawrence 2018. To be honest, I'm not even sure what we would win if we win it, but our name is on the list, so I see no reason not to go for gold. You can go to the community tab on the Best of Lawrence website, and you'll find a podcast section where you can vote for the Better Ideas podcast or whichever one in Lawrence is your favorite. I hope it's this one, but there are plenty of other good ones around here too. So thank you guys so much for the support and just the fact that we were even added to this list, because you guys are the reason for that, and I thank you. Today's episode is really special to me because I've been saying for a long time that I want to record a podcast episode about minimalism. Minimalism is an idea, I guess you could say, that's been really close to my heart for a little bit over a year now. I would say that a lot of the changes and a lot of the direction that I've been heading lately has had a lot to do with this idea of living intentionally and shedding the superfluous and focusing on what you really want in life. And I guess that's sort of how I see it. The idea of minimalism as a whole is it's not necessarily trying to live with the most minimal amount of objects or material things. It's the idea of just shedding the things in your life that are actually distracting you or taking away from your goals or your passions. And for me, that was, a house that I could hardly afford, or a car that I'm currently trying to get rid of, or clothing that's taking up a lot of space, or even music gear that I don't necessarily need that's taking up tons of room. Like, there are a lot of things in my life that I thought that I wanted, but when I really dug deeper and looked at it, I realized that if I were to get rid of all of that stuff, then it would actually not only free up like physical space, but free up this sort of mental space for me to be able to focus on the things that are really important. And this applies to everything when it comes to finances, your material possessions, your relationships, your diet, your wardrobe. Like, pretty much everything can be looked at through the lens of minimalism. So right after recording my last episode, or I guess after releasing it, which I thought was kind of funny considering I mentioned minimalism in that episode, without even hearing it, my friend Jake Dorn texted me and asked if I was into this idea of minimalism. And I, of course, said yes. And we talked about it a little bit over text. And he wanted to have a conversation in person with somebody, because it's kind of hard to find other minimalists, and you don't really meet a lot of people that are super into that idea, especially in America. We're all very maximalist, I would say, very consumeristic. That's just kind of how the culture is today. But I think that minimalism is kind of a backlash of that almost, is a lot of people are realizing that they just want enough. They don't necessarily want more. They don't necessarily want to have more than everyone else. They just want enough for them to be happy. And I think a lot of people are realizing this, and Jake is one of those people. I think he's always been kind of a minimalistic guy, but he's been doing it a little bit more intentionally for about the past year or so, and he's been like really applying this life to touring. And that's really important, because there aren't a lot of people in the music scene talking about applying minimalism to a band or to a touring or a traveling lifestyle. You'll see lots of nomads or van lifers or just travelers that talk about minimalism, but you don't hear a lot of people that are in bands that really have to prioritize their life in order to make that even sustainable in any way. And Jake is one of the few people that I've met who's sort of figured it out. He found this secret, and it's not really a secret at this point, but he found this trick to focus on the important things and to pare down literally everything in his life, so that being a traveling musician is not really that uncomfortable. You can do it. You can set up your life to be in a place where something like that is possible, even if it's not being a complete rock star and selling out venues every single night. You can be a sustainable artist with this sort of idea in mind. So it was really awesome talking to Jake. It's really awesome talking to anybody who's discovered this idea on their own, just because of how impactful it is for both of us. So yeah, we talk a lot about just how we discovered minimalism, travel, and sort of what it means to us. So without any further ado, this is my friend Jake Dorn from the band Sweet Ascent. So, yeah, what's up, man?
Oh, preparing for tour. As I was saying earlier, just trying to get house cleaned and things put away and laundry done.
Yeah.
Laundry is always the pain.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess we could, to give sort of an intro, just mention like, I guess what we talked about and what we're gonna try to talk about. And basically, I don't know what made you text me originally, but you just texted me and asked if I was into minimalism.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's because of like a retweet or something.
Part of it was I was trying to see like if I knew anyone that did it.
Yeah.
Like, there's all like videos on YouTube and like stories and like organizations about people, but I'm like, do I know any like here in Lawrence that I could like go like sit down and talk to and like have like a one-on-one conversation and not watch a video about it?
Yeah.
And then I just remembered that like, like your old place was a house, you had more stuff, and then now you live in a much smaller place, and it seems like you've like let a lot of things go and whatnot. And I'm like, maybe Dakota's into it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he's the kind of guy that might be, or at least like is educated on it enough.
Well, that's pretty spot on, honestly. Like that was kind of the idea. So I guess my introduction was the Netflix documentary initially. My boss at work just stumbled upon it, and he said he really liked it. And so I checked it out. I think it was like early last year, like February or so. I remember because it was around my birthday, and I remember having that conflict of like, I don't really want anything for my birthday. Yeah. Like I want to get rid of stuff. I'm trying to get rid of things, and I'm going to get like more things basically. But so yeah, that was the idea. Like I realized, I guess it hit me at a really critical time, because that was when the band was kind of like crumbling, and I was just reaching for like anything. And I had this idea in my head of like what my career was going to look like, and I never like took into account all of the things in my life that were keeping me from that, because I started out like right out of high school with debt, and like just the way that I contemplated things was like, all right, here's my budget. This is how much money I make, so I'm going to get the biggest and nicest apartment I can find for that amount of money or whatever. And so for me, it was like a big slap in the face whenever I just realized that I needed enough, not like more.
Yeah, not like doing it too much and whatnot.
Yeah. So then so I started with the closet, and I got all of my clothes to fit in my dresser. So because like my mindset is like, no matter where I'm going to be, I can probably fit a dresser there. But I don't need even a closet. Like I can just fold my clothes and put them in there. And then that way, if we do go on tour or something, just dump the drawers in a bag and you're ready to go, basically. Exactly. So like for me, it did make complete sense for somebody in a band to adopt that lifestyle, even though I hadn't really heard anybody talking about it. And you still don't really. Right. I don't think. Like in the music world, you don't hear people talking about minimalism a lot. Not really. But I know a lot of people that are minimalists that are in the music world that kind of don't even know it. And that's what I thought about you. I didn't know you had been like intentional about it. Because I was like, dude, this guy's a minimalist. I don't know if he knows it. But like, I remember the first time we did a podcast, you were talking about how you're like, I've always just been cool with like having my drum set. Yep. Like that's pretty much all I need to be happy. I'm like, that's very minimal, you know?
I got into it in a weird way. Like all my life growing up, I've always had stuff, but I've never wanted it. I just didn't know what to do with it. Like when I was like younger and like living with my parents, I had the whole basement to myself. It was all mine. It was like this whole like unfinished basement, and I just had like my bed and a TV and my drum set and my clothes, and that's what I'm like. I just need this.
Yeah.
But I had shelves just full of stuff and like pictures or posters or band CDs from a band that I listened to when I was like 12, and I'm never gonna listen to it again.
Yeah.
And then it kind of started when I moved out for the first time, because I'm like, what do I need? What do I want to take, as opposed to this, which is just going to sit in the closet forever? And then it was progressive, because I moved around a couple of times when I still lived in Wisconsin, and I just took less and less with me. And then the big one was moving to Lawrence, because I think I fit everything that I brought to Lawrence in the trunk of the car.
Dang.
And so I moved down here, and I still brought a lot of stuff. Like I had like a dresser that had a bunch of stuff in it. And then I never knew anything about minimalism. I never knew it was a thing that existed. And then I was at work one day, and I think I was trying to Google how to like de-stress with stuff, or I Googled something, I can't remember, and then it was like, minimalism, is it for you? And I'm like, what is minimalism? So I YouTubed it, because I do everything on YouTube. If I have a question of anything, I go straight to YouTube, because someone will explain it. And I watched like a couple, and it was really overwhelming at first, because there's like thousands and thousands of videos, and I'm like, I don't know where to start. And I watched this.
There's a lot of minimalist vloggers now too. Tons.
And I watched like 2 or 3, and then one of them was talking about like the documentary, like the big one. And they were like, it's on Netflix, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right. So I went home, and I lived with Jordan at the time. And that's part of where I got really into it, is I watched it on Netflix. And as I was watching it, like living with Jordan, I moved into his apartment with my stuff, and I put almost everything of mine was in my room, and the rest was still just all his apartment, because he'd been there for years. So it's clearly like all his stuff is where it goes and everything. And as I was watching it, they were talking about like looking around your room and your surroundings, and like, do you need this? And I'm like looking around the living room, and I'm like, well, I mean, a lot of it's Jordan's, but like, I wouldn't need that. I wouldn't need that. I wouldn't need that. And they were talking about like, like video games that you don't play anymore. And I'm like, I don't play any of my video games anymore. And just as I continued to watch it, it was like a whole different mindset. And I went in my room, and like, I think I threw out like 2 drawers worth of stuff. And then I've just progressively done less.
Did it feel good though?
It felt great. It was.
What is that? I'm trying to figure out why that feels so good.
It was weird at first, because the biggest one was clothes. Which to me, like, I've never had a lot of clothes, and I've always had like, I like these shirts, and then I have these shirts. Especially when I was younger, because I used to have, I was that typical kid that went to shows and bought shirts, even if I didn't know who the band was, but I liked the shirt, and then I'd wear it like once. And then I was also really big on, I only did it with shirts, pants and everything else I didn't care about. But I'd have the shirt that I really liked the shirt, but if I wore the shirt, then it would be dirty, and I couldn't wear it until I did laundry again. So I wouldn't wear the shirt. And I had like 10 or maybe even 20 of those, and they were all bands that I liked, like Seven Dust and Dope, and I never wore their shirts ever. I just always had it, and I'm like, I should like do something with them, or I'm not gonna frame them or anything, but like just something where I'm like, I can see it, but I don't have to like feel bad that I never wear it. And then the more and more I've gotten rid of stuff, the more I thought about like when I was younger, like, why did I have that? Like, I had a shirt. It was like a Walmart shirt that I wore, and it got signed by, I think it was Hinder or something like that. And I like Hinder, but they weren't a huge band for me. And the shirt was like a $5 Walmart shirt that was signed by and thinking about it now, I'm like, why did I need that? Like, why is someone's signature on a $5 t-shirt important to me? And then eventually I got rid of it, and I don't have it anymore. And now my closet has gone from like a closet and a large dresser and another large dresser to like maybe 20 shirts hung up and a sock and underwear drawer. And then I had like 4 or 5 pairs of pants.
Yeah. So I feel like in order to like cover things, we should try to give somewhat of a definition of minimalism, or what it is, or like why it would make you want to just get rid of all your clothes and stuff like that.
I don't look at it. A lot of people, I feel like they look at it seeing like minimalist. You don't have stuff. You don't buy stuff. You don't get stuff.
Yeah, but that is a misconception for sure.
And like I understand like there are people that are like that. Like I can't understand the concept of the extreme minimalism where you have like you own like 20 things. Like more power to you. I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But the big one on mine is just if you've had something or held on to something for so long, but it doesn't do anything, you never use it, you forget where it is or something like that, like, you know, do you really need it? And like I've never like looked at something thinking like I don't need that, I'm just gonna throw it out. I'll like put it away somewhere and then a month later I'll find it again and I'll either have completely forgotten that I had it or I'm just like I still don't need this and then I'll get rid of it.
Yeah. So for me, it like I completely agree with that. Like it's not just getting rid of all your things. Like that's not the act or the idea of minimalism. For me, like what spoke to me about it was presenting it as an idea, like Josh Fields Milburn, the dude from the Minimalist documentary. He always says that it's just shedding the superfluous.
Yep.
Like it's just for some reason, and I don't know if it's like once you notice it, you can't unnotice it, but like that's how it was for me. Is I just realized there are a bunch of things that I have that I didn't really notice were causing like mental clutter too. And like, you know, I mean, everyone feels good after they clean their room, and you know, like when things are in shape and the way you want them, that feels really good. But to me, that idea of everything having a purpose and everything having a place was really appealing. And then like starting with my house and my living space, like, and like Jordan Peterson says all the time, like you shouldn't go around fixing the world if you can't even clean your own room.
Exactly.
Like, and I realized that I was trying to do that. I'm like, you know, I kind of have an activist mindset. I'm trying to do all this stuff with the band. I'm trying to do all these things, but there are a lot of things in my life that I'm ignoring, or things that I'm like spending time and money on upkeep that I don't really even want. Like my car is the biggest example of that. Like I'm trying so hard to get rid of my car right now, trying to get out from under it because it owns me. Like I don't own it. I have to work every day to keep it. And so like just this idea of like shedding anything in your life that's keeping you away or that's slowing you down from doing what you really want to do. Or there's like this idea of setting your mind on the end goal or whatever the direction is you want to go, and just thinking like, what exactly do I need to get that done? So for me, it was like the band. All right, I want to do music. And then the podcast came later. But so what do I need? I need a van. I need to not have this big house that I was living in at the time. I need to have a way smaller cost of living. My goal was to get it about like a quarter of what I make in a month or so. And I'm almost there. If I got rid of my car, I'd be doing a little bit better. But so then, I just had these like all these things come up where I'm like, I got to get rid of some stuff, and I got to like really focus. And like, I also like that idea of living with intention. Like everything you do should be intentional. Yeah. You don't just do things on like default mode. Like this is what I'm used to doing, therefore I'm going to do it. Or this is what the whole world does, therefore I'm going to do it. Like the American dream, you know, like I think a lot of people don't realize that there are like all of these things set out in front of them that they think they want, but then they always talk about what they really want. But then they do all these other things like go to work for 40 hours a week and then get a mortgage and, you know, get a really expensive car payment. But then they say that they want to be a rock star and they want to travel the world like being a musician. It's like, okay, well then why do you have all of these things that are keeping you from that? Like those things, you have to work now just to keep them. So the whole rock star thing or even playing music at all is not really obtainable at that point. Yeah. So like I thought I could have both, and it was it took a while to realize like you can't have both. Like the whole idea of minimalism is to focus on what you really want and just shed anything else, basically.
To me, the biggest thing with it, and like this is in like videos and everything, but like I've always been a very organized person. Like not necessarily clean, but like I know where everything is and everything has a spot, and if it's not in that spot, I'm eventually going to get up off the couch and put it there.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this for the better part of the last year, and it's been so nice because I just don't have things that you have to think like, well, where could this go? Or and like I've been like doing it for a year. I'm still doing it. Like I didn't one day decide to become a minimalist and just get rid of everything. I've done it slowly. I've done like a drawer here, spent 10 minutes fishing through my closet here, and then a month later I'm back in my closet.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have to like revisit them too, because then you'll get more things.
Yeah.
Or you'll acquire things, and you're like have to re-examine.
And like I did it just this morning actually. I was in my closet and I tossed out this sport/gym bag that I think I've had it for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And I took it on tour once, hated it. And it used to be my like when you go to spend the night at a friend's house and when you're like younger, so you don't like, oh, I'll just go over there after school and be fine.
Yeah.
It's when you like pack and everything and you like bring everything that you could think you would want.
Yep. Gotta pack up all your video games.
Yeah, like video games and your clothes and your like your candy that you like but your friend doesn't like.
Yeah.
Just little things like that. And I tossed that out today and I'm just like, I feel good because I'm never gonna use it again.
Yeah.
And
so
then,
like I like to, at least with my clothes, one of the best parts was trying to find a purpose for all of it. Like, cause another like I think trend in the modern minimalist movement, because it's been around. I mean, like Buddhism is probably the most minimalist lifestyle ever, like traditional Buddhists and things like that. So this idea has been around for forever. You know, it's just essential. But I don't know. I like that idea of like repurposing things too, and like I tried really hard not to just donate all my clothes. Like the ones that I thought like my friends would like, I'd try to give away. And it's kind of cool now seeing my friends like wear my clothes and knowing that like I'm glad that somebody's getting use out of that because it was just taking up space for me. So that's cool.
Yeah, clothes isn't so much of a problem. And like I know like a really big trend in minimalism when it comes to clothing is like black and gray and white, no logos. I don't care about any of that. Like I already don't wear a lot of logo stuff, but they're also just a lot of the reason I do that is there's not a lot of brand name items that I care about.
Yeah.
Like I have my favorite drummer, Morgan from Seven Dust. He has his own clothing line. I like his stuff. So I have like 2 or 3 of his shirts and I think I have a sweater, but I wear them. So I'm like, I'm not going to get rid of this because I'm wearing a brand or anything. I'm like, I actually like this shirt, so I'm going to wear it.
Yeah. I think that's like getting into a whole nother territory because there are a lot of those people that are like, that are minimalists, especially that like don't like advertising or marketing because which I get, you know, like because it's kind of contributing to that consumeristic thing, but I'm fully like on board with supporting brands that you like and like artists that you like and stuff like that.
I don't care about brands in the sense of like, well, if I wear this brand because it's expensive, it gives me this look or mindset or anything. I'm just like, if it's comfortable, I'll wear it. Like I always get made fun of by my parents and my family because when I was younger, I didn't care what it was. If it was comfortable, I would wear it. I used to have, when I was in like middle school, I had a pink robe, like bright, hot pink robe, but it was fluffy and comfortable. So I wore it. I don't have it anymore. I got rid of that a long time ago. I had an ex-girlfriend's mom bought me penguin slippers for Christmas as a joke. I wore them for like a year because they were comfortable. I didn't care what they looked like.
That's awesome.
And I still do that now, but I have a lot less stuff. Like I really like the color black and I really like gray. So a lot of my stuff is based around that. And like I think I have like 4 maybe 5 pairs of pants including shorts like total now because it's just like, you know, do you really need 10 pairs of blue jeans or black jeans?
Probably
And
not.
I have one pair of black jeans, which I should get another one because these are the only pants I take on tour. And I'm like, there's going to be a day where I'm going to like rip a hole in their crotch or something. And I'm gonna be like, well, I'm screwed until day 14 when we go to a mall or something like that.
Yeah.
But that was a really big thing with clothing, is touring. Like, to get into that subject.
Yeah.
Is like, I've watched so many videos of like, and all the videos that you can watch on YouTube that are quote popular is like, it's either like traveling nomads or your like apartment tour, your wardrobe tour, or like what you've stopped doing.
Yeah.
And like those are all good and great and everything, but like within a year I've watched all the popular ones.
Yeah.
Like, I've watched all the different YouTubers and like their like mindsets and everything. But what I've never really found is like a musician version of it. Like, not necessarily just someone in the band or something like that, but like not someone who's like traveling the tropics or is going on a backpacking trip or something like that. Just someone that like generally travels for a short amount of time and then comes back. And with me, like my first tour, I think I took a suitcase full of stuff, and it's gotten less and less and less now. And I actually today I just bought a computer bag on Amazon. Nice. And my next plan for this next tour and possibly like future tours after that is this computer bag and a backpack. And I've done like 4, maybe 5 tours just with a backpack, and it's nice. I love it. I don't take a lot of things on tour. I take like the essentials. Like, I do 1 pair of pants. I'd like to take 2, but I just do 1. I usually take some kind of sporty jogger because I can sleep in it. You can wear it when you're not feeling like wearing pants, or you have an off day, or your pants are gross, or just some other form of pants. Unless it's in the summer. Summer, it's all shorts. And it's
for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then a couple shirts. You know, like I generally have a shirt that I'll play in because it gets sweaty every day. So you take it off and you let it dry.
Yeah.
And then like generally a shirt to sleep in, and then a couple shirts to wear throughout the day. And Jordan actually gave me this idea. He's like, you can take less things on tour and you'll do less laundry if you keep changing your clothes. Because you won't sit in one shirt all day and it'll be sweaty from the show and it'll stink because you stink. Or just like progressive things happen. Like, you know, if you spill something on this shirt, don't wear it anymore, because then you can clean the shirt while you're wearing a cleaner shirt. Or you know, like your laundry loads are less. And it's just, it's consistent of like different methods to take different things with you. And then like in my band, we wear a lot of black.
Yeah.
Like that's customary. And then on the off chance we get to do laundry, it's a lot easier for everyone to just throw all their clothes in one big load.
Yeah, for sure.
As opposed to, I mean, some of us, we wear different things. Like there's a lot of black and gray, but like Alex likes his white shirts or his denim stuff. But like he doesn't wear, you know, like 10 white shirts. So like washing all that with all his black isn't going to ruin his shirts. Yeah. But it's been, I can't talk. It's been really nice because it's minimal, it's easy to like take care of, and you think about it less. And then the big one for me is we have a smaller van now, so 4 guys, sometimes 5, all bringing suitcases takes up a lot of room in the van or trailer. Yeah. And so doing it out of a backpack has been nice. And my next idea is, because I bring my computer for like running the show and video and whatever else we do on tour. And the computer goes in the venue every day, but I don't want the computer to stay in the trailer because, one, it's more viable to get damaged, or I just use it more. Yeah. But it's a pain having to grab this, you know, 15-pound backpack every day out of the van. So I'm like, well, if I just keep my clothes and like essentials that I don't need every day in the backpack, I can throw the backpack in the van and just take this small 7-pound bag with me.
Yeah, it's genius.
And I got the idea on this last tour because it was winter, I took a suitcase and a backpack. I will never do that again. And I took it for convenience of all my clothes in the suitcase and then what I want on me every day in the backpack. And the backpack was like, you know, you put a backpack down, it never just stays there. It always flops over
Yeah.
or falls, or you'll step on it or something like that. And I'm like, I just want like a small bag that I can throw on a road case and just know where it is at all times. And so I finally broke down and bought one today. And it's super small. It has like 2 pockets. I'm like, I'm only going to put a computer, a handful of chargers, and nice headphones in it. And then I still will use all that when I'm in the van too. Mm-hmm. And then my backpack will just have the extra clothes that I'm not currently wearing.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited to try that out, and I hope that it works really well.
Yeah. So that's cool. I haven't like really started traveling that much yet, so
Yeah.
I'm really excited to like try to pare down everything.
Mm-hmm.
We did start on the van, by the way. I don't know if I told you that. I started gutting it.
I saw a couple things
Yeah,
about it.
so we're gonna start building on the inside here pretty soon, and when we do, I'm really excited to try to use kind of minimalist concepts to utilize the space really well, because we're planning on actually like building like a bunk, and we've got this really cool sort of like bed that'll fold into a couch kind of thing.
Awesome.
And like I'm trying to apply sort of that minimalistic idea to like what is the least amount of stuff or like space that we can use so that it has the most open space, so it can be like versatile. Like I could use it for a band, or I could do, you know, hopefully travel with the podcast. That's definitely one of the goals.
Super cool,
yeah, it'd be fun. But yeah, so I'm excited to like try to pare down. Like I have that backpack in there. I carry it like everywhere. And that's kind of because of the whole minimalism thing, which is weird that, you know, after discovering minimalism, I start carrying a backpack everywhere. Yeah. But it's because I'm like, okay, I want to know what is essential to me. And so I just kind of did it as like a practice for every day. I'm like, I'm going to carry my laptop and my camera and just a few little things that I need. And then that way, like if I have that, I'm good. Like I can go anywhere. I can hop in my car and pretty much go anywhere. And so, yeah, I don't know. For me, it's like, I'm excited and curious to see how those ideas are going to roll over when it comes to travel. But I would like to see more people in bands talking about this idea, just because, and I think Josh Hurst really hit on it really well, like just how the music industry is changing. Like it's not really the same thing where you can like live a normal life and play a couple shows and then get big or anything like that. Like nowadays, if you're gonna make it in a band, like you can't own things.
Yeah, well, it's not even that you can't own things. It's you have to set your priorities really well.
Yeah. Okay. I guess to rephrase it, like if the things that you own are causing you to spend all of your money on that and all of your time on that, then where are your priorities? You know, like that was something I had to realize is like, which one do I love more? Do I love having a nice car and a big house and all this, or do I want to like make something of this, you know?
A really big thing, like being in a band, like one of the biggest things that I've done the last couple tours is I've like slowly like I write stuff down all the time of like what could I do better, and a lot of it is like for the show, like I'll be like, oh, I need to work on this, or that was sloppy or something like that. And on this last tour, I was evaluating like what do I take on tour versus what do I use on tour versus how can I better myself. And since I've been home, I made like a really long list of like things I've done since joining Sweet Ascent that I've like bettered myself in. Yeah. And it was actually really odd. Like there were a lot of things that I didn't think about, like I've never really thought about, but I'm conscious that I've done it. And like since I've moved to Lawrence and joined Sweet Ascent and everything, like I went vegetarian, so I wrote that down. And then I thought like, what's the benefits of it? I'm like, I feel better. Like I don't do it for the sense of like, you know, it's bad for you or anything like that. I do it in the sense of like I like animals and like these farms and whatnot. It's I won't get into it, but it's
factory farming is a
all,
problem. I'll agree with you there.
It's all horrible.
Yeah.
But overall, I physically feel better, and a lot of it is like I'm a lot more aware of what I'm putting in myself, and I try to eat really healthy, and I try to do it on tour also. Like the last 2 runs we've done, I've taken food. We've always taken food with us, but it's never been like I'm gonna go shopping to go on tour. It's always I'm gonna take money to go on tour.
Yeah.
And then in doing that, like I take like healthier options.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm not eating Taco Bell every day. I still
Yeah.
eat Taco Bell on tour because I love it.
Yeah.
But I'm not eating like a loaded cheese potato Rito 3 times a day because it's $1.
Yeah. Although that is kind of vegetarian, right?
Well, yes. Just
cheese and potatoes and stuff.
This very not healthy. but it's funny because like we still go to Taco Bell all the time, and that is my favorite thing from Taco Bell. I could eat it all day long.
Yeah, they're
and
so good.
I feel so bad after doing it, but I
Yeah.
could do it. But we have a container in our van that everyone just kind of puts their food in, and everyone eats really differently. So it's really easy to look at something and be like, oh, this is mine, or this is Alex's, or this is Jordan's.
Yeah,
and a
for
lot of it's
sure.
because like I'm not gonna eat this.
Yeah.
They eat it, but I'm not gonna eat it, and like they'll look at it the same way that when they grab something of mine, like, oh, this is Jake's.
Yeah.
I ain't eating it.
So, do you think that minimalism had an impact on your diet?
Not necessarily. Like, okay, so I've been trying to get into working out, and not like I have no intentions of getting buff or anything like that. I have a lot of friends that do it, and they all like talk about like you feel better. It gets you on a better schedule, and you feel good about doing it.
Yeah.
And so like, and I my older sort of brother, like family friend, whatever you want to call it, he's a strength coach for like a high school baseball team, I think.
Yeah.
And so he's worked out every day for the last like 20 years, and he loves it. But he's not like big or huge or muscular. He's a lot more like
just
in
fit.
shape than I am.
Yeah.
But he does it for the sense of like you get up in the morning every day at the same time and you go do it, and then you're up. Like you're not laying in bed lazy for hours on your phone or anything. You're up being active, and it starts your day off right.
Yeah, they say that is like literally the best thing. I listen to a lot of Aubrey Marcus. Like, so for your circadian rhythm, like the best thing for you to do and to like start your day is sunlight exposure, 15 minutes from waking up, and some sort of movement. I've actually, I don't know if you noticed like the kettlebells and yoga mats sitting over there, because I've been doing the same thing, like trying to get back into it. Like I was pretty into it in high school, but I did it for more materialistic reasons, like what you're talking about. Like I did it to get buff, and I mean I weighed 210, but I was not nearly as like toned,
you
or
weren't
as
muscular
I didn't
for being
feel as
210.
good as I
Yeah.
could have, because I was not eating right. I was just putting on muscle. That was the only goal. Whereas like now I kind of have a similar mindset to you, where I'm like, I just want to feel better.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel like I'm aging yet. You know, like I already have things where like joints hurt and pop and stuff, and I'm like, I just want to be stronger as a person and like be able to just take whatever life throws at me, you know, like. But the thing about diet, the reason I asked is because minimalism actually did completely change my diet. Like, because someone, you know, just backhandedly mentioned it in probably one of the YouTube videos I was also watching, where they talked about how they're like, you know, this is going to start like most people in your closet. That's just how it is. For most people, they're like, oh, I can easily get rid of some clothes. Like that's the first thing you think of that you have too much of, most people. But I realized that like what you're saying, that I was taking in a lot of things and not being mindful of that. So just having this idea burnt into my brain of like, everything you do should be intentional. Like don't do anything without thinking about why you're doing it. Does it bring value to your life? Is this good for you? And that's when I got super into the keto diet, which is like the polar opposite of what you did basically, because I'm just eating fats and meat mostly. But I did actually like notice a significant difference. And like the whole idea of the keto diet is to put your body in ketosis so that you switch from glucose to ketones. And so your brain is essentially running off a completely different fuel source than what it's used to. And it was a crazy feeling. Like, and I still go kind of back and forth. I'm eating some carbs now, trying to put on some weight because I got a little too skinny there for a little bit. But yeah, it transferred over into my diet when I kind of just realized like I eat a lot and I don't even know what's in a lot of the stuff that I'm eating. And that's just kind of one of those things that was brought to my attention to where I'm like, okay, I wonder like especially like with how much money I was spending on food. I'm like, there's so much of this food I spend money on, and it doesn't bring my body any nutrients. Like I'm eating empty calories, which means you're spending money on essentially stuff that's just going to go directly into your fat cells and your body will do nothing with. That's wasted money as far as I'm concerned. Like you're just spending money on nothing. That's something that tastes good, that mouth pleasure that only lasts a second. You know, it's like, so for me, like once I had that mindset change, dieting was no longer like hard. I'm like, well, I just want to do what's good. Like what's good for me. And I can find foods that taste good that are also good for me. That's not an issue. So it's really cool to have that self-discipline, I guess. Because I've never been able to diet, but then all of a sudden, and the keto diet is easier if you like meat. So like you can still eat like bacon and beef and chicken and things like that.
When I switched to vegetarian, it was actually really easy for me because it started because my girlfriend is vegetarian. And she's actually about to come up on her 3rd year.
Dang.
I think, and this fall I think is going to be my 2nd. So, but when I started it just became easier because like we would go on dates and whatnot, and we would always have to figure out like, well, where can I get like a burger or something, and you can get something that's not a salad. And then as we just progressively went on, I was like, well, let's try something of yours, and I'll try something that's not, you know, a burger. And then it just progressively got more normal to do it, and then I started doing it at home. And she got me with these like vegetarian like burger replacement patty stuff.
Oh,
and, like,
yeah.
and I still eat them.
Like bean burgers and stuff like that?
Like not even black bean burgers. They're like, it tastes just like a burger, but it is not a burger.
Huh. Is it that soy stuff?
Yeah.
I've heard of that. Yeah. It's good too. It's good, full of protein.
Yeah. And I still eat them.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that I've started eating more vegetables, but I have, and like I'm enjoying them more. And I'm at the point where like just in like the healthier sense, like I can eat a thing of broccoli and not have to drench ranch all over it. I still will, but
so did you notice, like, I don't know if you got this, but for me, when I just decided to like start eating like real food, like just not like processed, like I try to watch out for cornstarch and stuff like that. Like I feel like your taste buds change too.
Oh yeah.
Like you actually start to like food. And then when like now if I like last night we went to Munchers for Valentine's Day and got some like brownies and stuff. Dude, I feel like garbage if I eat a lot of sucrose or sugar now, just because I can't really process it like I used to, and they don't even taste as good anymore. It's weird.
When I was younger, I've never been a huge fan of sweets, but like in the last year, that was another thing that I wrote down is I've not cut out, but my intake of candy or like just sweets that aren't in any way good for you has been dramatically lower. Like I don't eat candy on tour anymore. I don't eat it at home. If someone hands me something, then I'll eat it. But like, I especially don't eat candy just because it's candy.
Yeah.
Like, I really like Twix and I really like Starburst. So I'll almost always eat that. But like, I'm not going to go out and intentionally buy a 10-pound bag of Twix to have.
Dude, I don't remember the last time I bought candy.
Yeah.
Really.
And then when I was younger, I used to love, did you ever had a honey bun?
Yes.
Still to this day, I really like them. But when I was younger, when you're younger and you can like eat anything and your body just is fine with it, I would eat like a box of honey buns in like minutes.
Dude.
And now thinking about that, I'm like, I could eat one and feel terrible.
Yeah.
Like I still like it because it's still so good. But
yeah, they taste so good. They have them at the vending machine where I work, and it's like temptation. Yeah, I used to get them too, like all the time. Like until I started like actually paying attention to my diet, I had no idea how much of what I was eating was like probably gonna kill me eventually. So I'm like, I would do a honey bun for breakfast a lot of the time. And then I would drink like, we have a coffee machine at the dealership that I work. So I'd get like a French mocha vanilla latte, and I would have like 10 of those a day. And I would put sugar and cream in them and stuff.
So much sugar.
It's like, I had no idea. Like, I was probably going to get fatty liver disease or something.
I think about it like now because I'm 26 going on 27. And I think about like things that I do, things that I've done like food wise, like forever, but how I do it now versus before. Like I've never been a huge coffee guy. I drink coffee because like it's it wakes you up in the morning and or it gives you that boost you need. But like I drink my coffee black now, and
Same.
when I was younger, it used to be like, sugar and like 10 cream packets.
Yep.
Just because I'm like, it tastes terrible, but I need to wake up. Or sweets was a really big one. Like again with the honey buns, my birthday's on the 15th, and so when I had my golden birthday at 15, my parents bought me 15 boxes of honey buns. And when you open that, you think like, oh, this is gonna be awesome.
Wait, like not today? Though,
No,
right?
no,
Okay,
no.
I was gonna say today's the 15th.
That's the day it is.
Yeah.
And so when I was 15, they bought me 15 boxes and they wrapped it up and everything. And I opened it. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be sweet.
Yeah.
And I think I ate like 3 boxes like in a day. And the next day I woke up and I felt like garbage. And I'm like, I don't want to eat another box.
Yeah.
And so, and I think like over the course of 2 months, I ate the rest of them. But like now I'm like, I would buy a box and it would last me a month because I would try not to eat one. Like,
Yeah.
I would do it as like a cheat. And just recently, like 2 weeks ago, I started not like meal prepping, but like eating like more consistently. And I've done that forever. I've always eaten roughly the same thing just because my body is weird if I eat like different things every day. And that was something that I was used to when I first moved out. Is I would go out all the time. I'd go to bars and like B-dubs or something like that. Like it was like 2 or 3 times or more a week.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, I just want like the same thing with a little bit different every day. And then working 3 days of work or 3 days a week at work as a nurse, they stock like the staff kitchen and everything. So I can eat there and not spend money on stuff, but it's not healthy food. It's cheap food. And it was nice, not spending that extra like, 20, 30 bucks on food. But like now I'm like, I'm just going to make like an easy meal prep for 3 days and eat it. And it costs like $10. And I feel better about it too.
Yeah,
like I'm eating the
that's
same
cool.
thing. And I also eat less. Like I'm not like snacking on something at this time and then this time and then this time. I eat once at work, and it's so nice now. And I've been trying to do the same thing on tour. Like not obviously I can't eat the same thing every day, but like just more consistently and not because it's available.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that brings up like a huge problem just in all of society is like how available terrible food is everywhere you go. Like, I mean, I hate to like the obvious one is like fast food, like McDonald's and Burger King and stuff. But like, dude, it's so expensive just to try to eat real food. Like, it doesn't even have to necessarily be like a healthy, balanced diet. But if you're just gonna say, okay, if I'm gonna eat bread, it's gonna be real bread. If I'm gonna get meat, it's gonna be real meat. It's like, it adds up. Which is where I think the minimalism thing comes in handy, is because then a lot of people that get into like minimalism get into like counting their calories and just not eating at a deficit, but just hitting their macros basically.
I don't like count calories or anything. I'm a lot more aware of what I eat and how often I eat it.
Yeah.
And to me that's all I needed. It's the mindset of knowing like, oh, I ate Taco Bell twice in the last 3 days. Maybe I should not eat Taco Bell today.
Yeah, I like that. I don't really count calories either. I did for a while just because I was at a deficit. Like, because when you eat keto and you have to eat a lot of fat, like it's kind of hard to get 2,500 calories because nothing that you eat is really that calorie dense. Like I'm not eating bread or sugar, and that's where all the calories come from most of the time. But for me, I feel like I've gotten better at just listening to my body, like knowing after I eat something, like, okay, how do I feel? Do I feel like crap? Okay, that probably isn't the best thing for me then. Because I don't know if there is like a blanket thing on nutrition. Because I used to be one of those people who was like super against vegetarian and veganism. And then, especially when I was like really big into the keto thing and all that. But I've kind of started to realize that there isn't a blanket rule for nutrition for anybody. It's like everybody's body is completely different. And like you should find what makes you feel the best. And like, obviously you're going to know if something's not good for you. You're going to gain a lot of fat, or you're going to not feel very good, or you're going to feel weak or groggy or whatever. And like, I learned the other day that your ethnicity has a lot to do with how your body can process things. And it makes a lot of sense. Like, okay, like for example, I'm Irish. So a lot of my ancestors, like, you know, Ireland is very popular for being some of the first people to, I think, irrigate like large amounts of potatoes and things like that. So apparently people, depending on where they're from, can like process starches better than other people, which is like, I can't remember who I was listening to, but they brought up like how in the Native American population in America, like obesity is becoming an issue. And it's because we've brought all of these foods into a culture that didn't have them, and their bodies literally can't process a lot of it. So it's like we have the, you know, the whole American Heart Association and all that. We have this like blanket rule for nutrition, and then like science is finding out now that like everybody is different. Like your race, your ethnicity, like what you grew up eating, what your ancestors ate could have a lot to do with like what's good for you.
That makes a lot of sense. Like my majority of my entire family is from Sicily. And Sicily is really big. Like Sicily and Italian and all that. It's really big on like vegetables and pasta.
Yeah.
Like those are the two biggest things. And I eat pasta all the time. I love it. It's so delicious. But
and you're not overweight, so obviously you can process it.
I know people that eat pasta a lot that like they put on pounds because of it. So they don't eat it for a while. And I'm like, I can eat pasta 7 days a week, every day for a month, and I'll gain a pound.
Yeah.
Versus people that will do that and they'll gain like 30.
Yeah.
And I've even been asked like, how do you eat so much noodles and nothing from it? Now, granted, I'm not putting crap in it. I you know, like tomato based or something like that. But like still, like I can eat like a pound of pasta every day, and like that pound will be gone in a matter of days.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But
I think
that's
apparently I
didn't
should
know
be able
that.
to process them pretty well because you know, I'm like Irish, and you know the whole stereotypes like potatoes and beer. So sugars and starch shouldn't be an issue, but it's weird. I don't know, like the whole diet thing. Like just how
I'll have to look into that. That's interesting.
Yeah. I've been getting really into that also. And I think that is a byproduct of minimalism. Like I think everything over the past year is a byproduct of minimalism. Just how I've seen everything.
Yeah, it's all about how you look at stuff. That's what I've learned the most is I know people that don't have a lot of things but don't consider themselves a minimalist.
Yeah.
And I'm all about like you do whatever you want. You can be whoever you want and whatnot. So like I don't think like, oh, this person doesn't have a lot of stuff, they must be a minimalist. I would ask them, but I would never just assume. And I don't think the whole, if I ever tell someone that I was a minimalist, that I don't want them to come off as, well, you have this. That's not very
they're missing the point.
And it's just like it's not a definition, it's how you look at it. Like everyone looks at it differently.
Yeah, it's a mindset.
And it's funny because like I live with my girlfriend and she's not a minimalist. And it's funny, it's one of the things that I love like thinking about is like I have the things that I like and the things that I want, and that's it. And she has the exact same thing, she just has more of it. Or like we have a bookshelf in our living room that I laugh almost every day because I'm like, this bookshelf never gets used. I put my keys on it and it has a light.
Yeah.
And the only reason that it's where it is because it's the only light in the entire living room that turns on with a light switch. And so this bookshelf is conveniently there.
Yeah.
But that's it. Like it has a couple pictures and books and I think our DVDs. Rarely read the books, rarely watch the DVDs because Netflix exists.
Yeah.
And it's just like this bookshelf serves no other purpose than having this stuff here. But it's organized. It's not causing anyone any issues, and she likes it.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing with like being a minimalist and living with I guess materialist, whatever you want, however you want to call that.
I feel like that sounds negative though. Yeah. I don't know. Like I know you're not meaning it in that way, but
like someone like that's not a minimalist.
Yeah, maximalist. I don't know.
that sounds more like a hoarder.
Yeah, that probably is a hoarder.
I don't know. I look at it as like I have the things that I like, and she has the things that she likes, and it's her stuff isn't bothering me, and my lack of stuff isn't bothering her. And I'll give her a little crap every once in a while just to be funny. Like she loves coffee. She loves coffee mugs and whatnot. And there's this cabinet in the kitchen that it's just full of coffee mugs. I drink coffee and I have like a designated mug. It's just a gray mug, and I know that this is my mug.
Yep.
And I use it, I wash it, I put it back. And now granted, she uses all these mugs. She doesn't have 30 mugs and uses 2. Yeah. But it's just like, in my mindset, I'm like, I would never want that many mugs. But in her mindset, she's like, I like this mug because this reason. And so I'd never be like, can you please get rid of all your mugs? Like I'd never do that to her just because it's rude also.
Yeah.
But we were talking about this the other day, and she made me think about it a lot. And it was weird, like thinking about it in a touring mindset, but from hers, because my passion is music and drums. And she was talking about, like, she works X amount of days, X amount of hours, makes X amount of money. And she's like, I've deserved this money and I'm going to spend it on something that I want because I've earned it. And it made me think about it. I'm like, what have I done, in the last however many years of working? I'm like, what have I spent my hard-earned money on? And then I thought about it. I'm like, I have a really nice drum set.
Yeah.
And that's what I invest all my money into. So I have like new gear, top of the line gear, or just things that I want. And then on this last run, I was looking at my gear and thinking like a minimal mindset. A big problem is one of my cases is heavy.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, it's like the second heaviest thing we have. Damn. And then I was thinking about it, I'm like, what is in here versus what needs to be in here?
Yeah.
And like, all of us take like extra stuff, like as like, and I hate using the word, but like just in case.
Yeah.
And like on this last tour, I'm like, I think on the next run, I'm not going to take this. I'm not going to take this. I take a couple things like extra heads because that's inevitably going to break.
Yeah, for sure.
Or extra sticks. But like, do I really need that other cymbal that I don't use? Or do I need this other drum that I'm not going to use? Or like, is it something that like, if it's going to ruin the show, I won't get rid of it. But if it's something that I could make it through a show and then fix it later, do I need to take it with me? Does it need to be in this case? Apparently, we have a dog.
We are
on the
joined
show now.
by Jax, as long as he's not bumping the mic.
Yeah, but it was just interesting because I'm like, I've spent a lot of money on this kit, and like I just got a new snare. It's a brand new custom snare.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
I'll show you.
You were telling me about it.
It's gorgeous.
Heck yeah!
And I just got it. I'm super excited, and now that I have it, I'm like, now I can take the other snare out, or should I keep it in there as a backup? And then I have gone over and over like, well, here's a scenario if, a head breaks in the middle of a show, I would use this other snare in place of it. But I'm like, but also how often is that going to happen? I think in my entire like 12 years of drumming, I've broken a snare head in a show once. Yeah. Granted, it was terrible. And I had to borrow a snare from the band we were on tour with. It's happened once. I'm like, do I really need to carry around a 30-pound drum for that what if scenario?
Yeah.
So I'm still like kind of like backwards about it. Like, should I do it or should I not? But like, that's my mindset is like, do I need it for this one time it might happen? Yeah. Or do I better upkeep on my stuff so I know it's not going to break?
Have you heard the Minimalists, their 2020 rule? Have you ever heard of that one?
I heard something about it like just like yesterday, but I don't think I looked too far into it.
Well, they always tell people that the just in case items are like throw it away.
Yeah.
There are just for when items, like when your drum head breaks.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. So you got to have drum heads. But they're like those just in case items. They say if you can replace it for like $20 in less than 20 minutes, then it's also something you'd never ever need. Like, and that like their example always was like a spare toothbrush. Like one of them used to always bring a spare toothbrush, and he's like, why do you have that? Like you're never gonna lose your toothbrush, and if you do, you can drive to a gas station and get another one most likely. But yeah, I struggle with that a lot too, because like whenever I get something new, it's hard for me to get rid of the old thing. It's still useful.
I'm really big on, I like to use the word upgrading. Really big on it. Like, I love getting something new, but it's also like, all right, I have this, and I have an older version of this.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I have this newer one, how often am I going to use the old one?
Yeah.
And that thinks back to like clothing and stuff like that. You know, like you're going to buy a new T-shirt. So what shirt are you going to stop wearing so often because you have this one?
Yeah.
And that's becoming my mindset with having this new drum is like, how often am I going to use this old one? Because now I have 3. And when I was younger, living with my parents, I had a lot of stuff that I didn't use. I had like stands and extra snares and pedals, and I had no intention of ever using them. I don't have half that stuff anymore. And if I do, I've upgraded it and it's now something else.
Yeah.
And so now I used to have like 7 snares. Now I have 3 really good ones. I don't have 2 good ones and 5 crappy ones.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of in this like, now that I have this one, am I going to use one of the other 2, or am I going to use one of them as a backup and then the other one's just going to sit in a shelf forever? Versus like I could give it to someone or make money off of it or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of in that sense now. It's like I don't know what to do with the old one, but it's in my maybe section. Like I'll put it here, and if I don't use it in 6 months, I'll do something with it.
Yeah, I like that too, because like Sarah and I, we have a donation box, the box that's usually sitting by the door. So it's just like, did I just call Siri?
Yeah, you called Siri.
Oops. But yeah, like we just have a box that literally I just wrote donation on it, and it's always in the house, so that like it's just always visible if I'm ever like around. If I'm ever in a room and I see like just something laying around that I like literally have not touched, or if I'm like, oh, I forgot I had this, toss it.
Brooke kind of does that. We don't have like a donation box, but we have. She'll all of a sudden she'll just get this like thought, and it makes me laugh because I'm like, I wonder if like me being minimalist like is slowly like getting into her head.
Dude, I think it does.
But
I totally think it does, because it has with Sarah and I too, for sure.
Because when we moved in together, I already lived in Lawrence, and she came from Springfield, and when we were packing up her stuff, she actively was like, I don't want to bring everything that I have in this apartment with me. And so we were like going through a lot of her stuff, and I think we tossed out like a whole trash bag full of stuff, and it was like it's shoes and clothes or just items in a drawer that she doesn't use. And now thinking about it, like she has a lot less of that stuff. Now granted, she still has a lot of shoes, but like, and it's, you know, it's also like girls and guys.
Yeah, there's a difference
you just have
sometimes with
stuff.
the wardrobe, for sure.
Like I have 3 pairs of shoes. 4. I have like sandals, like a pair of Vans, a pair of Nikes, and a pair of boots. And I sometimes think like, could I do without the Vans or the Nikes? But like I like them for what they are.
Yeah.
She has a lot more shoes than I do, but they're all for different reasons, because she likes to like dress up and look nice, or like dress accordingly. And
yeah, but you can throw on Vans with just about anything too.
True.
Especially if you're a guy, you can wear a suit with like Vans.
Well, like part of it's also her job too, because she works like business casual.
Oh, okay.
So she has part of her wardrobe is just things she can wear to work. Would never wear them otherwise. As to where I work, I'm a nurse. I wear the same thing every day. So I have one outfit that I wash once a week, and I'm good with it.
Yeah. I totally noticed that too when I was like going through stuff. 'Cause Sarah does really like the idea of minimalism too. Like, I don't know if she like wanted to go as hardcore as I did initially, but just while I was getting rid of stuff, like it rubs off on people.
Yeah,
like, because even my like Randy at the
of,
time,
like, what can I get rid of?
yeah, like, so like my roommate and Sarah were both like, hey, I kind of want to go through my stuff too.
Yeah,
like, it's been a while. And then like, you know, she would hold up 2 shirts and be like, do you think I should keep these? And I'm like, I've literally never even seen those before.
Exactly, yeah.
Like,
that's
yeah,
me
I think
when
I
I
saw
do.
you wear that like once last summer, and I wouldn't even have to say like, yeah, get rid of it. I'm like, well, I don't know. Do you think you're gonna wear it like more than maybe once in the next 6 months? And it's like, you don't have to tell them. Like, they'll figure out like, no, I really don't need this. And so like she, I think, got pretty into it also, and now it's like just sort of an intentional thing. Like like last summer we went to Washington DC for a friend's wedding, And we were like so stoked about the fact that we only brought 2 bags. Like both of us. Like she was just as excited, like, all right, I got a wedding rehearsal, bachelorette party. I got all these events, and I'm gonna figure out how I can get all of this to fit in a duffel bag, basically. And I was like, that's really cool. Like it totally did just kind of rub off, and it, I think, is greatly affected both of our lives. Like just because we both realized like what we want more because of it. We're like, she was compliant and having the bigger house last time too, and she was fully on board whenever I had that realization of like, we need a smaller place. Like I can't afford these bills if I want to travel too and stuff like that. So we got to just downsize. And she was like, she's all for it. Like,
it's cool.
Yeah.
Brooke does it every once in a while. She'll randomly like come in the back room with like a trash bag, and she'll just open up the closet and she'll just start looking at stuff. Now, granted, she might spend like half an hour doing it and like toss out one shirt or something, but it's like, I've never seen this shirt.
Yeah.
And like, we both have different mindsets of the like, well, someone gave me this, or this has this makes
sentimental
me think of
things
this,
are
and
that's a whole nother thing for sure.
And I try really hard to not get attached to things.
Yeah.
Like, I like there are things that I like I like my phone, I like my computer, and I like this shirt, but I wouldn't be like, I can't get rid of this shirt because I like it. I'm just like, I don't wear this shirt ever.
Yeah.
And it's just taking up space in the closet. And my favorite thing about like doing minimalism, like for me in general, not necessarily living with anyone else, is like, no one would ever come over to my house and see a really clean house, but then I know that closet in the back room is just chocked full of stuff.
Yeah.
That's normally everywhere, but it's like, I'm going to look clean, so I'm going to put everything in this closet. And that's been one of my favorite parts about it is, you can open up any door in our house and it's like, oh, this is neat, this is organized.
Yeah. That is seriously the best feeling. We need to like redo that, because we did that when we moved. I got rid of probably like 70% of everything, and you're all right, bud. But whenever we moved in, I think I've kind of gotten comfortable and just kind of like started letting things kind of
like
acquire here. Yeah. And now I'm like getting to the point where I'm like, I'm ready to do some spring cleaning basically, and just kind of reanalyze everything. Like the new year was kind of a, that's when everyone writes down their goals and stuff like that. But I basically decided that this year I'm only going to focus on the van, the podcast, and making an EP. Like that's basically going to be my main 3 things. Those are my main goals for this year. To like, there's no end goal. It's just those are the things I'm going to focus on this year.
That's what you want to focus on.
Yeah. So it's like I want to pare down anything. Like so one of the first things to obtain any of that is to get rid of my car. So I owe like maybe like $1,000 more than it's worth or so. I'm not really sure because I haven't tried to sell it yet. But that's my goal, is to just basically like save up enough to where I can sell it, and then if I don't get all of what my loan is, then I can just make up the difference and then come out debt free. And then I feel like at that point is when I can really start like, okay, I have nothing holding me back. I got a couple $100 extra more than I used to a month, and so that's just less stress in general. That's more money we can spend on the van and just trying to get things in order.
That was something that I did this summer. I bought an Apple Watch, and like Jordan has one, his girlfriend has one, and I know so many people that use them and whatnot. And I'm like, I'll buy an Apple Watch. It's $200.
Yeah.
And I bought one. I wore it to work 3 times, and I took it on Warped Tour. And halfway through Warped, I took it off because like you have to take it off every night to charge it and whatnot. And like, it's one more thing to worry about. And then I realized that other than like checking the time, which is what a watch does, I didn't use it. Yeah. And so when I got home from Warped, I like cleaned it, charged it, and like put it down, and I didn't put it back on for like a month. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. Brooke was using it for a little while, and then she got a new job and they said that you can't use an Apple Watch at work, so she had no use for doing it, because like it's nice to like text on or something like that.
They
but, like,
seem really cool, but I've just debated. I'm like, would I really use it that much?
And then I
Everyone in my
ended
family
up
has them.
selling it, and I made most of the money back, which that wasn't even like a big deal. It was like, I don't use this.
Yeah.
Someone else will use this.
Yeah, for sure.
And I sold it, and I'm just like, I don't miss it in any possible way.
Yeah.
But it's just been nice. Like my main things that I've been focusing on is like, not like getting rid of stuff, but just like decluttering stuff that I don't need or use. And upgrading, I love doing that. Like for Christmas, I got a battery cell, and I had a little one, like one of those like charges your phone twice, but now I have a charges your phone 13 times.
Dang.
And it's a flashlight. So now I don't take that little cell or a flashlight on tour anymore, because I have one thing that does both and better than both.
Yeah, that's
And
cool.
so it's a less thing that I have, and it's multifunctional. And so
That's cool.
that's been my main thing, is focusing on like getting better quality stuff, upgrading my drums, because that's always been a thing, and then upgrading and then getting rid of the old one. And like I am about to get all new cymbals, and I'm gonna, like, after this next tour next week, I'm gonna get all new cymbals, but I'm gonna sell all my old ones first, because we have a little bit before we go out again. So I'm gonna sell all my old ones, because then one, it's gonna motivate me, like I need to get new cymbals.
Yeah.
'Cause, like, tour is inevitably coming up, and I don't have any. And then on top of it, it's less money I have to work my job to go buy new cymbals with.
Yeah.
And then if I were to do it the other way, then you sell a cymbal, or no, you buy a cymbal, and then you would slack off on getting rid of the old one, because you're like, well, maybe I'll need it.
Yeah.
And
Dude,
like,
I used to have a stockpile of like drum gear and cymbals and stuff.
So much. I counted
Even
it.
broken cymbals. Like I for some reason was like, all right, maybe I'll cut them into something someday or
and then
something.
you
like
never did.
Yeah, I never
Yeah.
did.
I was pretty good about, once a cymbal broke, I did something with it, or I gave it to someone. My friend Will has a couple of my old cymbals.
Yeah.
Or had. I don't know if he still has them anymore. But, he wasn't playing in bands, playing out. He was playing in, a basement, and so you don't need a top of the line quality cymbal if no one's gonna hear it.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, granted, it's nice because you have it, but it's just like, I'd be more than thrilled if someone gave me a broken A custom, because they're not going to use it anymore.
Yeah.
I'd be like, awesome.
Yeah, heck yeah.
But like, to me, like, I've been using less and less stuff, so it's just get rid of the old stuff, get nicer, newer stuff.
Yeah.
And then don't worry about it anymore.
Dude, I've been that way. Like these jeans, actually, these are distilled jeans. They're like the company that I bought them from. That's like their whole thing is, we're gonna make these like clothes that they're first of all, they're like not made in some sweatshop. Like it's made in America by like really well paid employees with like all natural dyes and like real raw denim and stuff like that. But they're like, their idea is that like, you're gonna pay a little bit more, but you're not gonna buy another pair of jeans for years after this. Like you can wear this pair of jeans every single day,
right,
for years. And like I've been getting really into that whole like buy me once type of idea. Is like, if I'm gonna buy something, it's gonna last. I'm not gonna buy junk. Like fast fashion is toxic, dude. Like my girlfriend's a GM in a store, and like her company is actually a lot better about that, because they only renew their stock like every I mean, it's like every week, but some places like H&M, for example, they have 52 different trends a year, which means every week that you buy something, the next week it's technically out of trend.
Yeah.
So like they're literally making clothes that are designed to go out of style within a month or so. Like that's their goal. And so I really like, like the black and gray, like a lot of people do that just because you can match it with anything, but like it doesn't have to be those colors, but just that idea of like the core wardrobe or whatever, like, and it doesn't even have to be with clothes. Like I'm looking at a new pair of sunglasses because I've had the same pair for years that are finally crapping out. But I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna get it, I'm not gonna get some like, cheap Hot Topic or Walmart glasses like I used to always buy. Like I want to get a pair that's like not gonna break. That's not gonna, because I don't want to spend more money on
quality
it.
stuff.
Yeah, and then you save so much money in the long run, and it feels so good. Like knowing that everything that you wear or own, or like when you look around, it's all your favorite thing. Like that's what I noticed the best. I used to look around my house or my life in general, like, because it doesn't even just apply to material things, like relationships and friendships and, you know, work, all that type of stuff. But I look around and I didn't like really care about most of the stuff.
Yeah.
In fact, that's why I got rid of it, because I was like, I could literally throw all this in a giant burn pile right now, and I wouldn't lose sleep over it. You know?
That was my big thing with buying band shirts. And like,
yeah,
and
that's
like,
kind of a
like,
problem for me.
And
still.
like, and it sounds funny because like being in a band, like that's what I want. But I'm like, a lot of it is like I stopped buying so many band stuff, and I started buying like bands that I like or like want to support, as opposed to like, I think like in the last couple of years of me moving around, I've probably tossed out more than 60 band shirts, and almost every one of those bands isn't around anymore because they're bands that they started up and they played a couple shows and I happened to go to one of them, and I'm like, oh well, I have $20, I'm gonna buy a shirt, and then I never listened to the band again, or I ended up not even liking their music. I had a bunch of shirts that I liked the shirt, hated the music, and or not hated, but like disliked the music, and I'm like, I don't, and they're not even around anymore. I don't need this shirt anymore. And like now, like I think in the last year, I've probably bought 5 or 6 band shirts, but I like them. And most of them are gone because summer came around and I cut up a lot of shirts for like Warped and stuff like that, and you know they got ripped or something like that, so they're gone now. But I have a couple of those still, and like, but they're like, I either really like the band or I know the band. Like I have 2 shirts from Zach's band. And love them. They're comfortable, and I like looking at them, and I like the band. So it's like I'm gonna buy something from a band that I like. I'm not just gonna do it because my dad gave me $20 that day.
That for me, like band shirts have still kind of been like a weird thing. 'Cause like I have literally like a section in my dresser. It's like just a stack of band shirts, and I don't really wear them nearly as much. But I always want to support the band still. Where I I bought an Averson shirt, like this band from Topeka, and it's bright yellow with black lettering, and like I just don't really wear yellow. But I bought it because I was like, I want to support these guys. I don't want to just give them money. Like they have T-shirts, I might as well take a shirt. And so for me, I'm like, that's kind of the one area that's actually been difficult for me, is like I want to support bands, but I don't really want to acquire that much more stuff, or I just like have that, I guess, guilt or in the back of my mind of like, well, I'm just gonna like probably get rid of another shirt or something because I bought this one, and like my dresser's already getting kind of full, and I don't like, that's just for some reason a standard I've set for myself, is I want all my clothes to fit in one space. But I also noticed that like the quality now means more to me. Like what I actually really like is that you guys, at least your last batch, I don't know about all of them. Actually, I know that it's not all of them, but you used canvas on one of your orders, which is like what Acme uses. The tan one with the skull on it that I have. I wear that one all the time just because it actually is so much better quality than most Gildan 100% cotton band tees that you get.
I had so many Gildan cotton tees,
and you wash them once and they never fit the same after that.
I know.
Oh my gosh, you're fine.
The biggest thing with like buying band stuff, or like not I guess like people buying our stuff, is like it's awesome that they do it because they like it went up, but like I also like I've seen people that buy band merch, they don't want the merch, but they just like, oh, I don't want to not help you or something like that. But then at the same time, like I know people that have bought in the same shirt from us multiple times. And to me, I'm just like, that's crazy. Like you want to support, you don't want to just hand us a $20 bill. Which I get, because I'd feel weird about just handing money over too. But it's just like, but you're gonna buy the same thing
that you've already bought. That's crazy.
And like I don't think I could do that, but I also, that's just my like, I don't need 2 of something. But I mean, I don't know. It's crazy to think about, like, you know, different people's mindsets in that. Like me, like I'm trying to go on tour and like have as little things as I can possibly take with me, so I have less things to keep track of. And then people buy our stuff and it's like, oh, you have our shirt now. didn't you buy this like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And possibly the year before that.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So,
and you guys have a lot of different t-shirt designs, so that just
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense. It's like,
weird.
get a different color
Well,
or something.
we have a few people that have bought in like everything. Like
Yeah.
that have like our whole collection from since we started.
Yeah.
And which to me, like, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Like that's kind of my thing with like Seven Dust stuff. Like I have all the CDs, and I've over the years I've had all the shirts. I don't have them anymore, but
Dude.
but
He's probably hungry.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a little over an hour, so I feel like a good way to wrap it up would be like, what is the best way for people to get into this idea? Or I guess like we talked about how we sort of discovered it.
Yeah.
So like, what would you recommend for people that, I guess, if this like piqued their interest?
anyone that ever asks me about it, I always just say like, do you need it? How much do you need it? What does it do? And like, have you used it in the last, 3-6 months? And if you haven't used it, why are you still holding on to it? Like, I know people that have like storage closets full of stuff. It's like, do you use any of that stuff? No. Are you going to? No. Why do you have it? I don't know.
So I guess what you're saying is just challenging people to like ask themselves that.
Yeah.
Like when you're looking at anything.
Yeah, like
Does-
I'm not telling anyone to get rid of all their stuff for the sake of having less. I'm telling you, like, if you have something that serves no purpose or you just haven't gotten rid of, like, what is keeping you from getting rid of it?
Yeah.
And like junk drawers are where I always tell people to start. Like, no one actually needs a junk drawer. Like every like to me, like every single thing you could ever buy in your entire life has a place. Whether it's useful to you or not, there is a place that it could go.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need a junk drawer full of dead batteries and bolts with no screws or it's little things like that like after a while you're like, I have hundreds of stuff like this.
Yeah.
And like I don't feel like it's for everyone. Like I don't think like anyone off the street could get rid of 50% of their stuff and feel good about it. Maybe they would really miss something, but it's like maybe there's something that you would get rid of that you'd be like, I didn't need that.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it kind of is for everybody, just not like on the extreme. It's like that mindset though of like just doing what's best for you and like questioning things of like, do I need this? Like that's a mentality that even like, rich people with mansions could adopt, and it still might even get them more success in whatever they're doing. Like there's all kinds of different like people on the spectrum of minimalism too, because like there's like Leo Babalta, which is this dude that's got like 5 kids, so he's got like a normal size house and stuff like that. And then there's Colin Wright. Have you ever heard of that dude? Like he owns 52 things total, and they all fit in a carry-on bag. And he moves to a new city like every 3 months, depending on.
I've seen so many people that do videos of the like everything they own fits in like a bag.
Yeah, yeah. See, that's just that furthest side of the spectrum, though. It's like
I'm not in that spot.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
But I think that's like kind of the mindset is like, well, you just got to realize what you want.
Yep.
And then get rid of anything else that's keeping you from that. Like, doesn't really matter if you want a lot of things or you don't want a lot of things.
I look at it in 2 spots because I have both. I have a stationary place that I live, and I'm not traveling around living different places, but I'm also in a band that travels all the time. So I try really hard to like, if I'm gonna have it on tour, I want to somehow use it at home too. And I have a couple things that like I strictly only use on tour. Like I have like a toiletry bag that serves me no purpose at home. Yeah. Because I have a medicine cabinet.
Yeah.
But on
and
tour,
a bathroom.
Yeah. But on tour I don't have that. So I have this, and even in that, like over the course of like getting into minimalism, my toiletry bag has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
So I've taken less things because like there's also like Jordan got me into this. He doesn't take shampoo on tour because it's only gonna eventually break in your bag and then all your clothes are ruined. So I stopped doing that. And occasionally we'll stay with someone that's like, oh, you can use our shower, everything's in there. Yeah. And it's like, I didn't need to bring shampoo because this person offered me their shower. Yeah. Or baby wipes exist, or just little things like that. Like, do I really need to take this on tour? I'm going to keep it at home because I can conveniently use it there, but it's just gonna be a hassle.
Yeah.
If I take
So
it
it's
with
like
me.
just becoming aware of all those little things where you're like, I don't know. I like that. I think that's a good. That's good for everybody. Just to think about, like, if there are things in your life that you're just not paying attention to, and that you think you could pare down and get to the essential of what's your favorite, what's the best. Like, it really is a great thing.
My biggest thing on it is like things that serve more than one use. Like, I feel like those are more valuable than having 3 things that do one thing.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
Especially when it I know it sounds funny, but like I have a multi-tool like in one of my cases, and I'm like,
back there.
Yeah, they're so handy.
Yeah, they're
it's
awesome.
like, and I have like the big one where it's like all the screwdrivers and pliers and knives and like a little saw.
Yeah.
And it's like versus a toolkit full of all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's little things like that where it's like I'd rather have something that does, 5 things than 5 things that do one. And it's less stuff. Like it's less clutter. Not that it's clutter because it's used, but it's one thing that does the job of, multiple things.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the biggest thing. Like, I try to not have anything that, other than like silverware, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to switch to getting sporks.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't want to get that.
Needs
far
to go that
into it.
extreme. You get one spork.
Yeah.
That's sharp on another side, and it does everything. You don't need silverware.
A knife, fork, and spoon.
My
tongs.
My advice would be to definitely watch the Minimalism documentary, just because Josh and Ryan are awesome.
That documentary is so good.
It is so well made, and Matt Diavella, the filmmaker, like, he makes all kinds of really good stuff, and I think he's also a minimalist, so it's pretty cool. Like, but yeah, I don't know. I would just recommend that anybody like tries to get entrenched in that world and just no. You can't sniff the mic. I hope everybody heard that. I hope you can totally hear that. But yeah, I would just tell everybody to get like just to do their research and just like get sort of entrenched in this idea and like learn about the vloggers and the bloggers and all the people that are talking about it, because it's like, to me, it's like a backlash of the American dream. Like, everyone's realizing we don't need this bullshit, to be honest.
Well, like in the sense of the American dream, like, I have everything that I want. Like, I don't have everything that I want, but like everything that I have, I want it. I don't have stuff because it's like a fundamental thing to have.
Yeah, you're not keeping up with the Joneses. You're just doing your own thing, and like, you know what you want.
Yeah, and then like it's funny because you talk about your car. I bought my car from Alex for like a couple $100.
Yeah,
and I really don't have any intention of getting a new one until this one's done. Like, I don't want a multi-$1,000 BMW. Like, I'm not a big car guy at all.
Yeah, so
it's like, if it runs and it's gonna get me there and not kill me, I'm good.
Yeah,
like, because I also I don't use it very much. I use it to go to work and that's it.
Yeah,
and like even like today, I'm like, I could walk to Dakota's because I'm like a block away from you.
Yeah,
I'm like, I could walk over there, or I'd just get there faster.
Yeah, for sure. Cool, man. Well,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, thanks for doing the podcast again, man.
That's cool.
This is going to be a sick episode. Thank you guys for tuning into the Better Ideas podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard here, then you can just go to patreon.com/betterideas and you can contribute to the show monetarily there, find all sorts of extra content, and just about everything I've ever uploaded. If not, you can go to itunes.com and leave us a 5-star rating, or you can just follow us on the social media platforms. We have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. In the meantime, I just hope that you guys keep enjoying the show. So, until next time.